Hi, I'm Mick Box. I started playing guitar a long time ago. Let's just say it was in the last century. Anyway, I suppose the reason they asked me to present a film on Guitar Wizards is that I've been playing long enough to have reached at least Sorcerer's Apprentice level. But I'm assuming if you're interested enough to have brought yourself a copy of this, you must be something of a connoisseur of the electric guitar too. So without further ado, let's get to the first clip. This is the amazingly talented Steve Howe explaining how he and his mates in Yes would go about creating a little masterpiece called Yours Is No Disgrace.
Fortunately, when I joined the group, they were very willing to take on board ideas that I had, and of course they were already a unit working together, and Chris and John were writing quite a few of the songs. And to use as an example, a song like Yours Is No Disgrace, which is credited to Yes collectively, it was very convenient that we were together working on it, because that meant that the ideas could be experimented with and things thrown out and things brought in as and when they needed. But to try and give you some sort of example, take a tune like, say, Yours Is No Disgrace, and the ideas that we got for that song were really from a very broad spectrum of places. And the introduction, which goes a bit like this. That particular framework was rhythmically taken from the introduction to a famous television series. We put our own chords into it and sort of arranged it as a group. And from that point, the idea of an intro, we developed that, and then we went into a theme. That was given, as a keyboard tune because just the nature of what we felt we needed at that time. And so this is different members just putting in little bits and then having it altered by other members to say, well, let's have this chord longer, let's have that chord for a shorter time. And then there was a plateau. Once that tune had been established, then the plateau for me as a guitarist was to put the icing on. So while the tune's going on, the guitar then enters with an idea I had, which was this. So this was all building out, and this was all really for the first time with me present in the group was formulating the actual scale of what we were working on. What an intro was to this group was something quite colossal. And it would last minutes and minutes, it would go by, and then eventually, of course, that intro would stop and we'd come into the main key part of the song. Now, John had some lyrics that he was working on, I think, David Foster, a friend of his, who he wrote with on the Time and the Word album before I joined. So in comes Yesterday Morning Came a Smile Upon My Face, which was the sort of opening lines to the song.
Yesterday that morning came a smile upon your face. See the smile morning glory sailing rain. On a sailing ship to nowhere, leaving any place. In the summer change to winter, yours is no disgrace.
what we started to do was to treat the music, each part of the music that it came, we would try to treat it differently. So when another verse came in, we maybe had a strumming guitar, and we had a walking bass, and we had a hi-hat. So the inventiveness of the group, because of its musical potential, started to show.
Jesus, Father's morning glory, silly human race.
And then a great moment came when they kind of threw the door open and said, well, how about a guitar solo? And with the old wah-wah pedal, you know, I went... Then once we come back to that tune, the keyboard tune, the guitar had to develop. We would keep on moving the music along. So by the time you get the last verse, then you've got a real, the full powerhouse of the group, all churning away. You've got the vocals back in, and this time you've got the full rhythm drive. So in a way we were using sparingly the ordinariness of what groups were doing at the time. And we were just trying to formulate as much as we could our own style.
When it comes to guitar, I've been called many things, not all of them polite, I can tell you. But critics come and go while the Heep, it seems, rolls on forever. And if you'd like a little proof of that, here's our band on stage. And if you're paying close attention, look out for the little guitar workout by yours truly.
Sounds like somebody up here just hasn't quite had enough yet. Is that okay? You mind if we just play just a little bit more for you? Some of the older songs you might know. Yeah! Three little words that just mean so much. Just look at yourselves.
Jan Akkermann is the former lead guitarist for the highly respected Dutch band Focus. Over the years we have shared many festival bills with Focus, but this amazing clip features Jan as a solo performer taking part in the night of the guitar show. For many of you out there, Jan is one of the finest rock guitarists of his generation. Now you can judge for yourself. Next up is Tony Iommi. Back in the early days, we all seemed to find ourselves compared to another young band called Black Sabbath. They certainly had a neat guitarist and a great writer too. Here Tony explains the story behind the creation of the Sabbath anthem, Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath again was done by just me coming up with a riff and playing it sort of loud as well. Goes in towards the end to we thought it needed to change by that time, but an up-tempo thing.
Now how about that for a heavy sound, huh? Dave Brock is the leader of Hawkwind, and it's his unique guitar sound which is at the heart of that particular space rock machine. This is Dave and his band with sundry other performers in a typically Hawkwind manner.
Now no tension in the air and a strange ugly glow. That amidst the noise of 1,000 people's door, it came a cry, it's the night of the horse. The wind was raging and the stars were black. We all knew there was no turning back. The gates of hell stand in our face. Nowhere to hide in this wasted space. None of the hooks, none of the hooks. None of the hooks, none of the hooks.
Faces are coming up now and then. Fleeting image of meetings unfinished, beginning to interfere. It's only the distance, words need to cover.
Well, that was certainly different. Now, Ronnie Montrose is, for me, one of the great underestimated rock guitarists. He manages to generate fantastic power, but still keeps the feel and the precision. Ronnie is a true pioneer of the hard rock sound, so just listen to this. Now, did you enjoy that? That's good. Now it's back to Mr. Steve Howe and some more insights into his work with the S.
We had an intensity that meant we broke out from our previous success level into, if you like, conquering various areas of America with our touring and then our records. So we were Fragile also offered us the option, which we all took up, of doing an individual track. John did We Have Heaven, Chris did The Fish, Bill did a piece which I'm always playing little bits of, and he can't bear it because it was, for him, very immature sort of writing. Bill's got very marvellous ideas about his own writing, and I think 5% for Nothing was rather simple for him. But I wrote Mood for a Day and played it on Spanish guitar. And that much, I mean, I'd played Clap on the Yes album, which was a great opening for me, because it really was a Chet Atkins style piece. Suddenly it launched and landed into the Yes album. So already I could sense the group gave me tremendous opportunity.
Pure genius. Now on to Robin Trower. This is a very rare film of one of the unsung guitar heroes who also happens to be one of the best exponents of blues tinged rock.
alone than I am. Some people seem to think I'm Superman. I look for the love. We're living in the day of ego. Ego not done. Slide away, drag me down. Every time I move, I'm on the ground. Shift my mind, shift my soul, telling me the things that can't be told. I look for the love, living in the day of ego, ego not done. Yeah, yes we are. Another day, another night. I wanna love, they wanna fight. I need some time to be alone. I need to think it over on my own. I look for the love, living in the day of the ego, ego not done.
Now that was magic stuff. Now on to Andy Powell and Ted Turner of Wishbone Ash. They created a distinctive twin lead guitar sound. We've toured with the Ash many times, and for me there's no better example of what makes the band great than this powerful film of the original Wishbone Ash lineup in full flight. Well, it doesn't get much better, or does it? For me, Ritchie Blackmore is one of the best players on the planet. Back in 1970, when Uriah, Heep and Deep Purple were both trying to make their name, we actually rehearsed next door to each other. Can you imagine the racket? At the time, Purple were trying out a new singer called Ian Gillan, so they were probably trying out material like Speed King from 1970.
Rockin' to the east and west, hard-headed woman and a soft-hearted man. Cause the trouble since it all began. Took a little rice, took a little beans, rock and roll down in New Orleans. I'm a speed king, you gotta hear me sing. 'Cause I'm a speed king, see me play. I'm a speed king, you gotta hear me sing. I'm a speed king, see. I'm a speed king. See me home.
Now back to Tony Iommi. We rock out to more metal mayhem. To conclude a great show, Tony unveils the creative process behind the Sabbath hit Paranoid. See you next time, and happy days.
Paranoid again wasn't really going to be as a single. We wasn't intending on doing a single. We were in the studio to write an album, the Paranoid album, which was going to be originally called War Pigs, but that's why the cover was with a chap with a sword and a shield. But they banned it from being called War Pigs, so we called it Paranoid, which had nothing to do with the cover at all. But anyway, we went in to record the album, and in the lunch break, I stayed. I didn't go out to eat with the others. I just stayed at the studio. Just came up with this riff, this Paranoid. And when everybody came back, I said, well, let's just put this down. So we put it down, and that was it. It wasn't intended as a single or anything. It was just another one for the album. But it did come as a single.